Hey guys, Akariss here, bringing you a brand new type of video. So, just as I mentioned in my update video, I'm actually going to do a couple of opinionated or different types of videos, and I'm going to start with this one. So, as you no doubt noticed by the title of the video, this video will focus on literally my opinion of Fire Emblem games, all of them. Now, there are a couple I've actually haven't played, so instead of having F over here, we're going to run with haven't played. And I think it's also fair that I don't truly judge a game I haven't completed. Or if I felt I couldn't continue, that's a little different. So if I couldn't continue because the game kind of got boring, then I am going to judge it. Because if a game can't keep me from start to finish, then it's probably not a very good one. So haven't played, haven't completed, we'll want to get around to it are different types of categories. Could just be a different time in life, you know, people get busy. So I'll keep everything from S to D, and I'll go in chronological order, meaning from Fire Emblem 1 all the way up to 3 Houses, which would be the latest one. So that means we start off with Shadow Dragon, and to be honest, this is actually going to be pretty difficult for me. I guess it's not Shadow Dragon, it's Mystery of the Emblem. Actually going to be pretty difficult for me to find these games, so I presume that Mystery of the Emblem is this one, because that one looks a little bit more updated, so I assume this is FE3 and FE1. Again, please have some patience with me, because some of the more unrecognizable games will definitely be harder for me to tell. So, boom. 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 I guess it didn't really matter because we just put them all in the same place. Now, I haven't actually played any of the Japan release only games, so just put them in there. I don't know which one's which, but you know, I know this one's Gaiden, but I haven't played Gaiden. I played Shadows of Valentia, which is here. It's Echoes, so we'll probably get to show it there. But yeah, so those are the first 3. Now, Genealogy. This is the one with Seliph over here. I've played a little bit of it, but I've only played like the first 2 chapters, pretty much up to the place where you get Jomke, or like are about to recruit him, along with Iroh. So I can't really truly judge this one, and I really want to, like say I've played it a little, but honestly I haven't, so I'm just gonna put it in here with haven't played, because I truly haven't played it, and I want to play it. It's definitely high priority out of the ones that I haven't played. Maybe in the future I revisit this once I played more Fire Emblem games and completed them, but you know, most of these Japanese games have totally escaped me, and I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna want to play them in the future. Now, it goes without saying that I've obviously not played FE5. There you go, first 5 FE games, never played them, know about them quite a bit actually, and their histories, but unfortunately I haven't gotten the time to play them. So, with that being said, finally I can start ranking some games. Now, FE6, and I'll preface this by saying like how I plan to rank games. If I'm going to give something an S, that's pretty much like my favorite games, and for different reasons. Could be for gameplay, could be for story, could be for just characterization, it could be nostalgia even. You know, like I'm going to have a nostalgia rank because it is an opinion after all. I'm not trying to objectively rank these. So FE6 I actually completed recently, like I believe it was a year or 2 ago. So, and believe it or not, I kind of enjoyed it, just because it felt kind of similar to FE7 without all the tutorials bogging it down. Like FE7 is really painful to replay because you have to get through Lyn, and getting through Lyn's is like really painful, like super painful to get through Lyn's first 10 chapters or whatever, because it's all just a bunch of unskippable tutorials. And every time I feel like I want to FE7, I want to like find a save file and skip through Lyn's tutorial, which is good for like new players, but it's really annoying. FE6 felt nice because it didn't have that sort of tutorial. It just like threw you into it and you're just good to go, and it was fun. So I don't really think this game deserves to be like S or even A, but it is fun, and I'm just gonna put it like straight in the middle as a B. Okay, like that's definitely where it's gonna go. Now, next up is, and like honestly, with the thing that really drags down FE6 is the fact that the protagonist is like completely bad, both from a character perspective and a unit perspective. Like Roy sucks, hands down, he just sucks. And the only reason he has any popularity is Smash. Come on, be honest. You know that's to be true. Roy sucks, and his game is, everything around Roy is great, but Roy himself is doo-doo. So you don't have the weight of the protagonist carrying that game, which is unfortunate. Anyways, going on, FE7. So, FE7, I probably would have ranked it S, like, to be totally honest with you guys, I probably would have, maybe years ago. But trying to replay this game is so painful that I can't possibly put it as an S. Once you get going, though, this game is like a slow burn where it's just so satisfying to get through the chapters. Like, I'm saying, like, it starts so slow, but once you get to, like, chapter 15, 16, finally 17, and that's like when you have like Elwood and like basically have all three lords and you're finally starting to promote characters, the game feels amazing. And it truly does teach you the foundations of a Fire Emblem game. No babysitting modes, no phoenixes, no casual modes, no extensive choices, no training, no grinding. Your characters die, you feel the effect of crap characters and good characters, like the RNG can be in your favor or not. And you know, I gotta put this game where it needs to be, and that's a solid A. But I cannot give it an S just because the tutorial is that painful. Like, it is that painful. I can't put it there. Okay, so next up is FE8. I'm gonna put this one under haven't completed because I've actually played it quite a bit, but I haven't been able to complete it. I'm not gonna rank it as like a D or C. It wasn't that the game was boring. I think it was actually quite good for the part that I played it. And if I was to judge it without a completion, I'd probably give it like a B or an A, probably B. But I'm not gonna judge it because it could round out really well. Like, for example, Fire Emblem 7 with Lyn, Hector, and Elwood starts terribly but ends amazingly. So, you know, that is why I gotta rank it where it is. And because of that, I can't put FE8 in any supposed ranking, but I have played at least half of this game. I've gotten promotions on both Erica and Ephraim, and I believe I played Erica's story when I played it, but either way, it is a good game, and it does remind me a lot of FE10 every time I play it. Not 10, Awakening, 13. Okay, moving on. FE9 with like, I'm just gonna put that in S. Like, that's straight up my favorite game, probably of all time, or really close to it. FE9 is not a challenging game with Ike, but it definitely feels like a good game. Like, it just feels nice to play. Okay, you get these moments of challenge, but you don't get like difficulty that you would from other, you don't get punished. And this is the difference between kind of modern Fire Emblem and retro Fire Emblem. Retro Fire Emblem, you get like crit, reset. You get like, you were counting on like a 80% hit to hit, because usually that would, and the enemy has like a 20% hit, and it goes completely out of your favor, and then you just got to reset the map, and you might have been like halfway through it. That's punishing and stupid. And the thing with FE9, I don't feel like a lot of people talk about this enough, is that FE9, you have reliable hit rates, and you know, not a lot of people have like under 100% unless you're just a crap character or you're using axes. But even axes feel better in this game, so even the lowest hit rate weapons tend to be pretty reliable in hit rate, and that makes a huge difference on your playthrough because you're not resetting because of really crazy RNG. So FE9 feels good to play. There's a couple resets, but honestly, the fact that you can even make bad characters good using the bonus XP system is good in my eyes. I enjoy making characters like Mia, which are my favorite, who I believe isn't really considered good in this game by most people. Actually ends up being pretty good because you can just bonus XP her and she ends up being good because it pushes her stats that were otherwise bad into good territories. But beyond that, the game is actually easy enough that you can use bad characters and not feel like you're getting screwed. Plus there's a forging system in this game to make like these really meme or fun weapons with colors and names and stuff. Like, it feels a customization that's still true to Fire Emblem, but not making it over the top ridiculous where the little girl ends up in full armor, which ironically is FE10. Shoutouts to Meg. So I still put FE10 here, but for a completely different reason. FE9 is like a comfortable experience. So you're just comfortable playing it. It's not super challenging, but it's fun. You don't feel super stressed. Things are reliable. You have a good time. Now, FE10 is up here as one of my favorites for a completely different reason. Okay, FE10 is up here at S because of the difficulty. Now, this is where I was truly tested as a Fire Emblem player. You know, I played 7. I was like 10 or something. I got wrecked. I had to restart the game at like chapter 15 or something on Elwood. The one where Legault shows up, I was using like a bunch of cabs, and cabs was the only thing I had. I had like Sane, Kent, and everyone, like, what was it, Marcus, like completely over leveled, and it screwed up my file. That was like my first Fire Emblem experience. So, you know, I finished 7, I got better. I played a bit of 8, didn't complete it. Played 9, felt like I'm the boss, you know. Then I played 10, and it's like the first 3 chapters, like, what the heck just happened? I suck at Fire Emblem. I suck at this game. And yeah, that's pretty much what 10 felt like. But that was like a sort of motivation, because I think I was like a early teen, like 13, 14. I was like, yo, I'm gonna beat this game. I can do this. So I struggled through the first 10 chapters, and I think most people do, because you end up with like this party that sucks, and you don't start to feel any power until a certain black armored knight shows up and saves the day. And then it finally flips the switch on the game. You go from like the hardest game in the world to like the easiest game in the world, because then you start getting like good characters, good units. Ike shows up, and you're like, okay, now we win. And it's pretty much like that, steamrolling all the way to the end, where you finally get a little bit of challenge yet again, using what you've round outed from both parties. And believe it or not, I am so big on archers. I used archers like in every single Fire Emblem game I've played. And you guys might not know this, but I'm huge on archers. FE7 used Will and Rebecca. FE9 used Astrid and Shinnon and Rolf. Same idea. Now with 10, I used Astrid, Rolf, Leonardo, Shinnon, you know, like every single archer that I could. And archers kind of suck because they don't have an enemy phase. That gets a little better later on in Fire Emblem, where they finally solve the enemy phase archer problems. But I was stubborn. I loved archers. I love archery. It's my own personal hobby. So of course I use archers. And it made my run a little bit different, because I was always focusing a lot of gameplay on player phase, because that's where archers excel. So yeah, not so great, but it was fun, and I have good memories of FE10. There's a sort of satisfaction, again, that comes from the hard beginning, chill middle, with good story, decent story. At least, like, the thing with FE9 and 10 is it really touches me with its actual story. I think, like, Intelligent Systems took some risks here, and it touches on topics that aren't normally, you know, used in video games or sensitive. So, you know, if you played it, I'm not going to spoil it, but FE9 and 10 definitely tries to cover the differences between, you know, like humans and beasts and their relations and such. And there's a lot of that real world aspect that you can really touch out of a game like this. And that's why it feels good, along with the gameplay hand in hand. Plus, it kind of rounds out the whole story of 9 and completes it in 10. So these games are my favorite. They have just mechanics that I love to this day, and I go back and play them with a good fat smile on my face. Okay, and now we gotta get into some of the more controversial games. So next up is actually Shadow Dragon. I did play this game. I did buy it. I didn't complete it, but not because it was good, because it sucked. It sucked bad. But I don't know if I can give this a D, to be honest. This ranking is reserved for one game. That's what I feel. So I feel like as a Fire Emblem game, it still felt like a little bit like a Fire Emblem game. But the thing is, this game's side quests and paralogs or whatever asked you to kill off characters to access them. You literally had to do that. So when I read that, I was like, this is dumb. I want to experience the full game, but you're gonna tell me I have to suck to access those? It felt really anti what I was accustomed to, like trying to keep my characters alive, not letting them permanently die. And on top of that, the whole class changing customization thing felt really awkward. Like, you can literally make all the I don't remember this 100%, but I remember you could make characters that were like totally different from what they should have been. Like the little guy Gordon or something could be like a knight or something. You know, like he shouldn't, you know, like mech, the armored little girl. You know what I'm talking about? Not a huge fan of that sort of stuff. So it felt kind of anti-immersive a little bit there. All right. So I'm not gonna go too deep into it. I didn't complete it, and honestly, if you think I'm wrong, or you have a different opinion on Shadow Dragon, please feel free to tell me in the comments below. I'm not gonna harp on it too much. I just didn't enjoy it, and it felt really weird for a Fire Emblem game. But maybe that's because it's based off of Mystery of the Emblem, which is the first one. Speaking of new Mystery of the Emblem, remake of 3, I never played it, but I heard it's pretty good, so I might give this a go in the future. And finally, after 9, 10, 11, and 12, we finally jump into the more modern-like Fire Emblem games. So, Awakening. Awakening is... it's what got me back into Fire Emblem. So you can just imagine, I kind of stopped playing after 10, or after 11, and 12 was never released. And I kind of got into like my early university life, and I didn't really think about Fire Emblem at all for a long time. Must have been like 4 or 5 years or something. And with that being said, I didn't have a 3DS at that time, and I kind of felt like playing something strategical or just something that got my brain going like it used to. And that's when Awakening came to mind, and I heard that it was a really amazing game, definitely worth buying on 3DS. So I said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna get Awakening. And Awakening was a super solid game. So what am I gonna do? A for Awakening, right? Yeah, that's where I think it needs to be for me. Now, Awakening's drawbacks are that it's just a bit too easy overall. Like, it never really gets hard. Its story is decent. It's not like the kind of level that 9 and 10 felt for me on a connection level, but it felt like there was some good characterization. Sometimes it leaned a little too heavily on tropes and anime cliches, but it was decent. It had decent characters. I really like Chrom and Lucina, for instance. I think most people could say that if they played Awakening. Some of the side characters are either really hit or miss. I remember my first marriage in this game ended up being Muriel, and first of all, I didn't even know that was like a thing. I swear, like I kind of knew, or I kind of didn't know, or I didn't know the effects of it. It was like Muriel, and I ended up just benching her because she became such a one-tone, boring character for me through her supports. I'm just like, I can't use this character, it's just boring. So Muriel got benched, Lauren got benched, and even somewhat Morgan got benched because of that. And that kind of made me, I don't know, indifferent, which really shouldn't be the case for a game based on characterization. But again, it felt okay. Some of the customization was sometimes a bit weird, but there was this kind of like class mastering aspect, and I remember getting really into it, trying to like get everyone to class change into everything to master like all their skills just for the sake of completion. Like, I went really ham into that. So the game it kept me playing for a lot of hours, over 100 easily. And I remember playing Lunatic Plus for that challenge. And I'm just going to rename Lunatic Plus to use Frederick for the first 4 chapters and hope RNG is on your side, because that's all I remember of that. You unlock the world map and then it just becomes a grind fest to complete Lunatic Plus. That's what I remember. It's good. It's a good game, but I don't think I'd consider it one of my favorites. It's just up there, really, really good. And now... okay, so the music of this video is Fates, so you must assume that I must really like Fates. Thankfully, they're divided into 3 games. Now, here's what I think. Let's start with what I played first. I played Conquest first because I heard that was for the Fire Emblem people. And honestly, it was really good. Conquest has some of my favorite characters. Niles, specifically. Really good character. You would think this game, based on a lot of anime tropes or Japanese culture shown into it, like the first time they had samurais and stuff like that, you would think they lean heavily too much on tropes, and there was a lot of them, but Conquest did have some surprisingly good characterization. Like both Camilla, who gets hammered on by tons of Fire Emblem people, and Niles, not Niles, like Niles, you know, he came out of there kind of under the bus. They even kind of connected Awakening with Odin, Laszlo, and Selena and stuff, and it was good. It had some really small gems in it. Despite that, though, Conquest's story was crap. And that's like the only thing that would keep it from going to an S. Good characterization, good music, good gameplay, but story was so unsatisfying. I literally was... the only thing motivating me to play this game was the gameplay by the final few chapters. I was like, this is just good Fire Emblem. Despite that, I actually got a little bit burnt out from too heavy of a challenge. That does happen sometimes. So what I did was in between, I got to like the 20th or something, near the final chapters of Conquest, and I said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna try Birthright. And Birthright was fun because it was just kind of like letting off the steam of playing hard Conquest and saying, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna play Birthright because I heard it's easier. But it was so one note that it can't possibly get an S or A for gameplay, and story was just cliche, just what you expected. No twist, nothing really crazy. It's just a standard game, just B. I had fun because I got to pair up Corrin and Ryoma and end turn a full map, and I just got to sit back and do this. That was it. That's all I had. It was fun and just fun. It's kind of like what I felt about FE6 in a different way. Just able to crush maps, but no real challenge. Now, I tried, man. I tried to play this game. I really did. And then I got to the snow map, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I just watched the cutscenes on YouTube and pretended that I finished the game. You would think combining the characters from Conquest and Birthright would have been amazing, and you get finally access to everybody, crossover supports and whatnot. But man, this game failed on a gameplay level, failed on a story level. It kind of failed to do anything new that Conquest and Birthright didn't already kind of do in their own respective ways. This game doesn't exist. Alright, Echoes. Oh man. Man. I think I might. Yeah, I think I gotta put this game at S. I never actually thought about it, but Echoes is amazing for me. Like, you know, it's opinion after all, but now I look back on Echoes, I never really had something I disliked about it. I liked the dungeon system, I liked fighting random monsters, I liked the characters. I felt the gameplay was maybe a little imbalanced, because you felt like some characters just sucked. And that's because like Dread Knights and some like some classes are just too strong. Like you had Pegasus Knights, I remember steamrolling with Pala S and Catria, and like Saber and Alm, you know, like Dread Knight just steamrolling through the whole game, and it was easy like that. But you know, it still was fun. It's a lot of fun. Character and production value of this game, first time it ever happened, blew my mind. Like being able to listen to every single voice line spoken. There's some customization, how you take certain villagers and then the predetermined characters completely fit their roles. For example, Claire is a Pegasus Knight, and you know, it just makes sense. She's really strong because she's a Pegasus Knight. Characterization was amazing. Everyone didn't really fit some cliche or trope. The twists at the end were good too. I won't spoil those. This game just, it's fond memories. I never actually played past the end game, and it's something I just want to do. This game is just super, super strong. And it feels like a classic Fire Emblem, but also modernized in a lot of good ways. Yeah, I only have good things to say about Echoes. It's a super amazing game. Both protagonists carry that. This is just a solid game. Solid game. Fond memories. Everything wins here, with just maybe the gameplay being a tad little bit weak, but at least it's fun. So even if the gameplay feels like not as challenging as it could be, it's still a lot of fun. Okay, and finally, Three Houses. Now, I haven't completed this, believe it or not, but I played a significant portion of it. I've gotten to the beginning of part 2 and on Golden Deer, and the thing is, I couldn't complete it because it wasn't challenging enough. It felt like I was steamrolling everything on hard. Which, like, if you compare hard Conquest with hard Three Houses, now I could be wrong, maybe I'm just better, I don't know, I couldn't say. When I played hard Conquest, it was about 5 years ago. When I played hard 3 houses recently, it felt too easy. It really did. I didn't feel challenged at all. I mean, I could literally and I didn't even like look up strats or anything. It just came intuitively to me. I like warp Byleth into the middle of the crowd and turn, and Crest the Flame procs kept him healed. He could use pretty much every single weapon in the game. There's no weapon triangle, which by the way, I actually liked. I like that aspect, that there's no weapon triangle. It lets you kind of diverge a little bit in weapon customization or usage of certain characters that you feel you just want to see them do cool things. So I'm gonna put 3 houses here and under having completed, because I'm currently playing through Maddening, and it's the right challenge. It's the right challenge. It feels good. I recently played like the first 6-7 chapters or so, and I got to like Lawrence's Paralog, and I finally felt like I was getting somewhere. I finally got, you know, people getting stronger, getting some good spells, making sure that I'm recruiting the right characters to make my runs easier, or making sure that people are at least fitting a sort of class that makes sense in the overall composition. I feel like I'm trying really hard. And I hit Lawrence's Paralog, and like, wow, I suck. Apparently I'm not where I think I am, and these units just steamrolled over me with like 24 attack speed Pegasus that totally just crush everything. You're looking at weight numbers, you're looking at growths, you're looking at, you know, class compositions that fit into it. You're like long-term planning your game, and that felt really good. So honestly, playing Maddening feels super good to me, and I feel like I might put this game at an S once I complete it. I don't know yet, because I don't know enough about the story. There was actually some twists getting into it, so it's already shaping up to be pretty good. And I'm a teacher, so maybe I have a little bit of bias here with the whole Byleth teaching students kind of aspect, but I can't fairly judge this game yet. If I was, it would definitely be S or A already. But, you know, sometimes a game starts strong and ends poorly. There are those, so who knows. With that being said, that's pretty much my whole Fire Emblem tier list. This is November 2019, so things may change. I definitely want to try certain games that I haven't completed, so FE8 and 3 houses, I'm definitely going to finish those up soon. New Mystery Emblem and FE4, I definitely want to play them. They just feel like good games for their own reasons, and I don't know if this list might ever change, but maybe when I replay certain things. Like, for example, FE7, I might have put it in S maybe a few years ago, but I've come to realize that there's a lot of drawbacks to this game that keep it from being there. And that pretty much sums up my opinionated tier list on what I think of the current Fire Emblem games. I hope you guys enjoyed this different take on a video. I mean, this is pretty much opinion, so feel free to tell me, guys, in the comments below what games you enjoyed the most, which ones you disliked the most. If I feel like I may have misjudged something, or you just have a different opinion, you want to enlighten me on something, feel free to tell me in the comments. I'm not gonna feel offended or something if Revelations is your favorite game. Okay, if Revelations is your favorite game and you tell me why, tell me why. I'm not gonna be mad. Just please don't. Just keep it civil. Like, let's not call names or anything like that. No bullying. Okay, guys, much love. Give the video a thumbs up. Sub to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.